Well, this is the incredibly impressive engine bay of a 1968 Plymouth Barracuda. This guy at this point in time houses a 426 Hemi cross ram dual Holley carbureted engine in it. It's got a fairly stiff cam in it, not as wild as what they actually had from the factory, but it sounds like a fairly stiff cam. Does not have power steering, does not have power brakes. There's no way you can even put power brakes on this car. Does have, however, a dual-stage master cylinder on it, which gives you a little bit of stopping safety there, and it does have front disc brakes on it. Has a set of dual cooling fans on the 26-inch wide radiator that would have come in a air-conditioned car from Chrysler. The fender wells are just as nicely painted and clean as can possibly be. There's no fender tag on them, but it doesn't really matter. We know this motor did not come from this car, and it's not a correct... Oh, man, you're really taxing me. I think it's BO29, I think is what Chrysler called them. They were a hand-built set of cars, and I think they made about 140 of them total. And this is a duplication of that. It is obviously not the real one, but it's not $250,000 or $300,000 either. So, you know, it's a car that you can buy at a nominal price. It does have a set of matched Holley carburetors, however, on it, on a magnesium intake manifold cross ram, the way they were designed originally from Chrysler. It has a newer alternator on it. The belts are new. Let's see here. Has a wiper motor on it, so it's set up with windshield wipers. It is set up as a street car. The vehicle does have an automatic transmission with it. It has a overflow bottle here on this side, so that you don't get any antifreeze on the ground. The battery should be on a real one. It was in the trunk on the right-hand corner. On this particular one, it's still housed up front here. The car is, again, a duplication of a factory race car that they produced in '68 and '69. These cars were just incredible cars. They were kind of the top of the food chain for a long time. Sox and Martin ran one. Of course, Dick Landy ran a Dodge Dart, the same configuration, but in a Dodge Dart. Horsepower-wise, I have no idea what it's making now. It's a pump gas motor. I'm going to guess it's just a standard 10.5 to 1 426 Hemi engine. But again, without getting into the engine, we really don't know the internal configuration of what we have here. But just from driving the car, it's a 10 to 1, 10.5 to 1 motor with a fairly stiff cam in it. So it's probably making somewhere in excess of 500 horsepower. I think the original ones from the factory were 550. They rate them at 425, but that was a joke. Really nice, impressive engine compartment. It does have a cold air hood, just the way they would have been, fiberglass hood from Mopar, and it does have the screened velocity stack intake system on it that Chrysler installed from the factory. Very impressive engine compartment. We're going to go the rest of the way around, see what we can show you there. Okay, we're going to go around a duplication of a factory race car from Mopar, 1968 vintage. The paint on this car is very nice. It's certainly above a driver quality paint job, and it does have fiberglass hood. The real ones had fiberglass fenders too. These still retain their steel fenders and steel nose on it. Fitment is very nice, as you can see around the hood. The front a little bit high here, but you're going to have to put up with a little bit of misfit on fiberglass pieces back in that era. And again, the gap is really, really nice on the car. Front end is just as fresh as you could hope to find. Nice clear parking lights in it. The bumper has no scuffs or marks or scratches or anything on it whatsoever. The grill area is nice and clean and still shiny chrome on it. Just very, very nicely done. All the trim around it, the anodized aluminum is nice and fresh looking. Plymouth designation in the front. Just a nice dramatic front end, especially with that scoop on there feeding a couple of hungry Hollies on there. 68, correct. Little round side marker lights on it. Wheel lip molding, that didn't come on the factory race car, but it's on this car. You got to understand, this is a street version, a duplication of that car. But look at the fit on this guy, even for a fiberglass hood. Very nice. The doors fit really well. The VIN tag nice and in place the way it should be. Of course, the original one did not have windshield wipers, but this guy does have them, and they are correct for the year. They are the correct wiper arms and blades. The padded dash, which again the original one didn't have, but this guy does have, just as nice and clean and distortion-free and crack-free. Trim around the window. I don't see any marks at all on it. Absolutely none. Trim around the wing area is very, very nice. This is usually a little bit distorted with some patina. This one is not. Tinted glass in the front and tinted glass on the sides too, which again the original ones would have had thin Corning glass in them back at that time, and actually didn't even have window actuators on them. But this is a street car. This is a car you can drive every day if you want. Drip rail nice and clean. Remote mirror. Again, you know, a nice addition to the car for a street car. Wipes, whiskers, nice and clean. Look at the door gap on this thing. This is as nice as you'd ever hope to find any door. Interior, again, in the original one would have been 2 lightweight bucket seats, no rear seat in it. There would have been a strap here to hold the windows up. This is a street car, a duplication of that mechanically. Steering wheel, I don't feel any cracks or breaks in it, which is unusual. Usually they have some nice clear factory style gauges in the car. The seating area is really nice, nicely padded, nice vinyl on the front buckets, and the rear bench, of course. It does have seat belts in the front. Devin, I don't think there's any in the rear. I don't think there's any seat belts in the rear. Carpeting is very, very nice and fresh on it. Appear to be the original sill moldings on this thing, and they're in very good condition. Door jambs the same way as you'd hope to find on a quality car like this, nice and clean. Nice fresh rubbers on the car, rubber seals. Keep everything sealed up for you. Window fitment is spot on. You can't get it any better than that. A nice seal of the windows. Going back down through the side of the car, of course, Mopar back then, that quick fuel system on it. Looking down inside of the carpeting is nice and fresh and black and not faded whatsoever. A little dingy right here. Other than that, the trim's nice from what I can see on this side, but there is a little dingy right here. Something fell down along it. It has the styled steel wheels on it. We're jumping all over the place here. I am. Devin's trying to keep up here. Styled steel wheels on it. They're a plain old flat standard wheel with the dog dish hubcap on it, and 15 inches big as you can hang in the back here, by the way they look anyway, and 14s in the front, little narrower tires in the front also. Side marker light in the back, just the way it was on the front, and down the side of the car just laser straight. You can't get it any better than it is. This is a good, high quality, nicely painted car. Deck lid, you can see the deck lid is nice fitment just the way the hood was. This is anodized aluminum the whole way around, and around your backup lights and tail light sections, just as nice as you'd hope to ever see on a car. And they're kind of neat because these are the backup lights and these are the tail lights. Chrome on the back bumper is same as the front. There's no marks or scuffs or anything present on it. A huge set of 3-inch pipes dumping down, just the way they would have been from the factory when they were new. Guess what? We got 2 batteries in this car. We got one up front, and we got another one in the back here mounted the way it should be actually as a super stalker from the factory. So it does have another battery in it. I don't want to tear this. I can't get it, but there's a spare tire well in here. There's no spare tire in it, but there is a spare tire well, and it almost feels like the original trunk mat in it. The quarter panels appear to be the original quarter panels with the sound deadener still on them. This panel here drops down in the back, and the seat folds forward, so you actually do have a lot of storage space in this guy, a ton of storage space. Very impressive car. Barracuda designation with our little Barracuda fish there on the back. And again, look at the fitment of this thing. Everything is just the way it should be. Trunk, hood, everything. Trim around this side, just as fresh and nice as you'd ever hope to find on any car. There's no imperfections so far in the paint anywhere. We haven't found any deficiencies at all so far. I feel something there. I don't know what. I can't see it, but I feel a little bit of a lump there from something. I don't know what it is. Door fitment on this side, the same as it was on the other side. Look at that. That is absolutely as flawless a fit as you can get. Wipes, whiskers, good. Window where it mates to the rear quarter glass. Really fresh looking. Door panels, seats, interior. Devin's going to give you a whole slew of high resolution photos to take a look at on this vehicle, but it's just a very, very high quality street drivable street car with a full interior in it, and when you walk around it or see it going by, you think it's a factory race car, the way it presents itself exterior wise. Closure is just as nice as can be. No mirror on this side. Antenna for radio, which again the original one didn't have, but look at the fit on this guy. Look at this. That is really, really nice. 426 and Chrysler Pentastar. 426 designation, which I forgot to mention on the other side too. And back up to the side marker light that we had on the other side. This is a very special car. This guy is a, again, I think it's BO29 is what they call these cars. They only made, I don't remember, I think it was about 140 total between the Darts and the Cudas, and this is a duplication of that car. Obviously not the real one, but it's not 300 grand either. But it does have at this point a 426 Hemi engine in it with a cross ram, dual Holley carburetors, a set of hand-built headers on this thing. Very, very high quality exhaust system, which you'll see in our undercarriage presentation. It is a duplication of that car. It's not the original one, but it's also a streetable car. It doesn't have 12.5 pistons in it. It's got 10.5. You can run pump gas in this guy. It's an automatic. It shifts well. It drives well. The interior is a full interior so that you can actually take passengers if you want. It has a back seat. The original one didn't have that. Everything was lightweight. It was a purpose-built car. This is a commemorative of that vehicle, kind of the same one that you saw Ronnie Socks running on the weekends or during the week everywhere on the drag race circuit at that point in time. It's a great car. It runs well, drives well, presents itself well, and it's here at Hangsters in Daytona Beach, Florida. And we'd love for you to come down in person and take a look at it. But if you can't, that's why Devin's going to give you this entire presentation and about 100 still photos, high resolution, that you can go ahead and take a look at. It's a very impressive car. This is something that requires a lot of attention. Take a look at it because it's a fantastic piece of American history. Okay, this is the underside of a 1968 Plymouth Barracuda super stock Hemi tribute car. It's not the real one, but it's not $250,000 either. But this guy presents itself as a real super stock 426 Hemi cross ram dual quad Holley Mopar. Mouthful. It's got disc brakes in the front to help slow this guy down because it's definitely going to need it. It has a fresh Hemi motor in it. It is, we're going to get some numbers off of it for you, but it's definitely a 68 up 426 Hemi engine. It has a torque flight transmission with it. It has a set of 2 1/8 inch diameter equal length headers with adjustable ends on them, so you can adjust and put pieces in here, 4 of them at a time obviously, to lengthen it or shorten where it is now, the header length on it. It goes into 3.5, possibly even a 4-inch collector. I'm going to call them 4-inch collectors going into a 3-inch pipe. The subframes are really, really nice. A couple superficial dinghies in them just from usage through the years, because you can bet this thing's been up on jack stands lots of times. There's no leaks whatsoever in the engine, the bell housing area, or the transmission. At least not at this point. That doesn't mean somewhere in the future you're not going to find a few drips on the floor. It's a muscle car. You're going to get them. It's like owning a Porsche. Heavy-duty radiator in the front. There's no leaks whatsoever on it. The cooling lines are hooked up, the original steel type, going up to the radiator from the transmission. No leaks in the tail shaft area or the speedometer gear, which is usually a leaking point of a Mopar. The floor pans actually appear to be original. They don't appear to have been replaced through the years. I can't really tell for absolute positive. If they have been replaced, it's certainly beyond our ability to tell it at this point. It's so professionally done, but I am going to call them original floor pans. They really look great. Does have a huge set of subframe connectors in it because this guy would definitely need them. Original fuel line on the passenger side. Original brake lines. There's one section put in there on the driver's side. It does have parking brake, and it appears to still be functional. Set of Flowmaster mufflers, 3-inch in, and we'll see what comes out of it. But electric fuel pump mounted up alongside the subframe here, where the subframe connectors come on to the rear subframes. Everything has been substantially reinforced and welded up. The subframes in the back, where they transition up over the rear differential, are really, really nice. There's no deterioration whatsoever on them. Neglected to mention there's a set of newer shocks in the front of this thing, and the calipers and rotors all appear to be as new condition. The rear brakes, of course, are drum, and there's a set of newer shocks, air shocks in the back, so that you can adjust the ride height in the rear. 3 inches going in, I'm going to call them 2.5 inches going out, and then back into a 3-inch drop-down curvature pipe at the very end, the way it would have been from the factory. Gas tank has been replaced. It's got a new sending unit in it. The well where the spare tire goes is still nice, and there's one little tiny ding in that one side, very, very light, knuckle dent. That's it. Nice curvature to the leaf springs that are in the back. It has an 8 3/4 Mopar rear end in it, which these guys are pretty much indestructible. It's a nice car. It has a lot of originality underneath it. It got some superficial dents in the oil pan, but the guy that's going to buy this car is going to put a deep pan on it anyway. They're going to put a Millenden pan on it, holding about 8-9 quarts of oil, which that guy really does need. It's a nice car underneath. Haven't had a chance to drive it yet. Deb and I are going to go for a jaunt on it here and see how the thing performs, which I'm sure is going to be impressive. And just a nice car. It's available here at Hanksters, and definitely warrants your attention. Okay, this is the control section of our Super Stock style 68 Barracuda. Fantastic car. Cross ram heavy, dual Holley 4 barrels, long tube headers, 2 1/8 inch hookers. I think they're hookers. They could be stalls. It could be anything. Fantastic car. Fantastic car. Speedometer, I'm sure, is going to work. It does have factory tack in it. It is not working. However, it does have a tack in it that is working. This car got a lot of cam in it. It's sitting in an idle at about 1,000 RPMs. Alternator is working as it should. Oil pressure is not working. However, it is working down here in our auxiliary gauge. Gas gauge, we got about a half tank, and the temperature also is not functioning. However, it's functioning down here. We just started it. The wipers, where the heck are they? Wipers. Try that. Let's try that. Wipers are functioning as they could. Ooh, good blades on them too. How about that? Fan is not working for the blower. It's definitely not working for the blower. Radio.
His ability to.
How about that? Getting a lot of plug interference from the ignition. The radio does function. Radio does work. A horn, I think I said. Horn does work. Remote control mirror also works. We're going to go for a ride. See what this guy runs like. Tell you what, this thing's not geared real deep. It's not set up as a drag car, although it looks like it, but you can drive this car on the road anywhere you want to go. Go straight as an arrow down the road. You can aim it right, go straight as an arrow down the road. No deviation whatsoever, absolutely none. Let's try brakes, no hands. Stop nice and straight. Speedometer working as it should. It's showing us about 40 miles an hour, which is probably a little slow, but we're going pretty close to it. Turn signal right, functioning as it should. Turn signal left, also functioning as it should. Nice car, runs good, it's nice tight. Steering's a little you know, it's not real precision, but it's a lot of power, and it's just a nice driving car. I mean, it goes where you want it to. It doesn't shake, shimmy, rattle, squeak, absolutely nothing. It's going to rain here in a second. I'll give it a little bit of a shot here. A little bit from a roll here. About 70 miles an hour. It doesn't take long to get there with this thing. It's got a real nice sound to it. It pulls well, tranny shifts nicely. It's not a hard shifting transmission. It doesn't bang the gears, but it has a nice positive shift to it. It's a nice car. It's a nice, tight, straight driving car. Aim it right here. There, going down the road, no hands, and it just goes just as straight and nice as it can possibly be. It's a nice running car. It drives well. It's tight. There's no noises in it. It's got a nice taut suspension in it, which is fine. Just notice this sun visor needs to be sewn. It's starting to come looser a little bit. I always try to pick at everything I can, you know, during these videos to show you things that are an issue that we have to go ahead and address prior to the shipment of the car. So this is our first shot with this car that we didn't go over it yet, and we're assuming all the lights work yet, but we do what's called a pre-delivery inspection. And in that inspection, Donnie will go over this thing methodically to make sure that turn signals work, the backup lights work, everything in the car, the horn works, everything in the car functions as it should.